Previously, Greatest Demon Lord starts his new life as a normal person, but he is still stronger than anyone else. He enrolls a magic academy and Sue becomes very popular because of his unique skills. One day, he is confronted by a girl from his previous life who wants to kill him, thinking he is responsible for her sister's death. But the girl named Sophie has no idea someone is actually controlling her mind. Unable to break her out of the spell that is controlling her, Ard steels himself for killing Sophie, as he does not remember her as a blood-crazed murderer. At that moment, Lydia's voice echoes from his sword. This instantly calms Sophie down. Suddenly, the masked man appears, knocking out Sophie and taking the two swords from her. He explains that his only goal is the return of Varvatos, and he will stop at nothing to get the almighty Demon Lord back. Attacking Ard, he finds himself way too weak to win, so he decides to blow up the entire city by using Sylph's sword. But as he invokes the sword's chant, the sword refuses to bend to his will, hurting him instead. Ard explains that holy swords choose their wielders, taking Sophie's sword in his own hand and activating it. By using her sword, he obliterates the masked man, having only the mask remain behind. At that moment, Lydia's soul takes form and appears in front of Sophie, helping her regain her senses. She scolds Sophie, telling her to forgive Varvatos as he is not at fault for what happened in the past. Stating how she wants for her to live a long and fulfilled life, Lydia treats her the same way she used to in the past before returning back into Ard's sword. This proves to be more than enough for Sophie to stop holding a grudge towards Ard. While going on a school trip, Ard, Irene, and Ginny suddenly get pulled out of the world and find themselves in front of a white-haired boy who calls himself God. God tells them that there is a being which is trying to upset the natural order of things by manipulating the flow of time, and that being will end up destroying the world if left as is. He gives them the mission to kill that being and save the world. At that point, Ard, Irene, and Ginny regain their consciousness. However, they quickly realize that they are not in any place that they know. By looking at the sky, Ard figures out that they have been brought back into the past, when there were still 2 moons in the sky, explaining that one of the moons got destroyed during ancient wars. It is during this time that Varvatos was in power, and based on Ard's memory of this time, they must be in a region that is under his control. Reasoning that the best way to figure out who that being they need to eliminate is to make contact with Varvatos, Ard decides they should make an effort to meet him. As they are talking, they hear a girl scream for help nearby. Following the scream, they see a girl with animal ears and a tail being chased by a massive monster called the Death Stinger. Ard makes short work of it with his magic regardless, saving the girl. A familiar face appears to thank them for saving her pupil, and they are all shocked to see Olivia. However, it is being Olivia in the past, she does not know any of them. Telling her that they know of her because they are her fans, Ard prevents any extensive questioning. Stating that Ard is powerful enough to be an asset, she invites them to come to her village. In the village, she explains that they need Ard's power to fight back against a threat that is coming from beyond this world by a race they call the Outer Ones. The Outer Ones keep creating demons which are at constant war with humanity. In order to save humanity, Varvatos is doing his best to push them back, while helping humanity develop magic of their own. Since Ard has shown his magical power earlier, Olivia really wants him to join them. Ard agrees under the conditions that Ginny and Irene are allowed to join together with him, and that they all get assigned to Verta's forces. While not happy that someone as strong as Ard wants to join a support unit, Olivia decides to give in and recruit Ard under these terms. When they meet Verta, Ginny and Irene are quite surprised to learn that she is nothing as the Verta depicted in legends they have heard. Instead of a refined and elegant lady that brims with knowledge and ingenuity, she seems to be quite the eccentric young girl. They introduce themselves to her, and Verta is extremely excited that she finally got some gifted people to come join her unit. Ard decides to tell everything to Verta, revealing that they are from the future. She happily agrees to help them find a way back to their time. At that moment, Sophie and Lydia burst into Verta's workshop. They harass Verta, pressuring her to provide more support troops during their skirmishes. Irene and Ginny are surprised to learn that Lydia is also nothing like the gallant lady depicted in legends, as she is very violent and unfriendly. In addition to that, once Lydia notices Ginny, she is immediately infatuated by the innocent succubus. It takes Ard getting between them to stop her sexual harassment of Ginny, which Lydia does not appreciate. To teach Ard a lesson for getting in her way, Lydia challenges him to a fight. He obliges, and the two of them go to a remote location where they have a brutal brawl. Using only fists, they pummel each other until both of them are covered in bruises. Ard finds this very nostalgic, remembering how this often happened in his past life. In the end, Lydia acknowledges Ard's strength, asking him to help her in their war, stating that if he proves useful and reliable, he will be able to meet with Varvatos. In their next battle, Ard, Irene, and Ginny join Varvatos' forces. Thanks to that, Ard is able to prevent the enemy general from destroying their back lines. By making short work of the foe that they have been trying to beat for a long time, even Lydia is impressed by Ard's combat prowess. This achievement finally grants them audience with Varvatos. Ard finds himself a bit jealous of his past self, as Ginny and Irene are both awestruck by meeting him. When Irene and Ginny address Varvatos as the legendary Demon Lord, he feels a bit confused and offended. Ard manages to defuse the situation by explaining that they just used the title of the Demon Lord because they heard it somewhere else. At that point, Ard is shocked to learn that there is another individual in this timeline who goes by the title of the Demon Lord. Back at Verda's place, they talk to her about this difference, and she reasons that this other Demon Lord must be why they were brought into the past. From her, they learn that the Demon Lord is extremely powerful, as not even Varvatos was able to defeat him, so they decided to stay out his way. While thinking of a way to approach the Demon Lord, Lydia bursts into the room. She calls for Ard to join her on the front lines as they are about to march again, this time against Mevelis, the Cursed King. Hearing that name, Ard immediately decides to come with her, remembering that it is Mevelis who put the curse on Lydia in the past. His curse drove her mad, and eventually he had to kill her with his own hands. This time he is determined to protect her from Mevelis' curse. But as they storm Mevelis' castle, they find that Mevelis has just been killed by none other than the Demon Lord himself, who declares that he will be taking any and all lands he sets his eyes upon, thus declaring war on Varvatos and his kingdom. Holding an emergency council, Varvatos plans to respond to the declaration of war by storming and completely destroying the Demon Lord's castle. For that goal, he will use all of his troops. While resting in preparation for the coming battle, Ard gets a surprise visit by the Demon Lord. Ard wonders what the Demon Lord wants from him and why he is acting so familiar. It is then that the Demon Lord reveals that he knows everything about Ard, as he is in fact Ard as well, just from a different timeline. In his timeline, everything that could go wrong went wrong after he reincarnated, which drove him even further into despair. Finally, he decided that he will find a way to save Lydia, no matter the cost. The same God that brought Ard to the past also brought him here with the single goal of destroying the world. Ard wonders how destroying the world is going to save Lydia, but the Demon Lord goes on a tangent, reminding Ard how they doomed Lydia with their attempt to protect her from harm. In order to correct that mistake, the Demon Lord will do everything in his power to destroy all of the potential threats that could kill Lydia before having her kill him herself, finally freeing him from the burden that he is carrying for so long. Knowing that Ard is also carrying the same burden, the Demon Lord asks Ard to join him. Ard is about to accept his proposal when he remembers Irene and Ginny. Knowing that they count on him makes him hesitate, and at that point he hears the voice of Lydia telling him to not do anything stupid. Seeing that Ard is hesitating, the Demon Lord leaves, telling him that he will wait for his reply for 3 days. Noticing that Ard is troubled by something, Lydia drags him out into the town to hang out and have fun. They have a friendly brawl, and this helps Ard clear his mind. Ard asks Lydia what she would do if she could sacrifice everything to save someone precious whom she had lost. Getting a hint of what is bothering him, Lydia brings him to a ruined town nearby. There she explains that even though she is a champion, she has to do horrible things when fighting the demons, such as slaughtering their civilians in this town in order to ensure the humans become victorious. Because of that, she is haunted by her sins, and once humanity's future is secured, the only thing she wants is to die in order to atone for what she did. It is then that she asks of Ard to not change the way she dies, showing him that she has more or less figured out what he is thinking. 3 days later, the assault on the Demon Lord's castle begins. While all of Varvatos' forces are engaged with the demons in order to try and get to the castle, Lydia storms ahead all by herself. Ard meets with his other self, telling him that he will not be joining his side because he no longer desires to save Lydia, as that goes against her wishes. Hearing that, the Demon Lord attacks Ard and their duel begins, but it turns out the Demon Lord was prepared for this response. While the battle is raging, Lydia's faithful servant Latima takes Irene and Ginny onto a top-secret mission into the Demon Lord's castle. On the way, she explains that Ard directed them to destroy the Demon Lord's soul vessel, as without that, the Demon Lord will become killable. Irene is unsure if they are strong enough to pull it off, but Ginny encourages her, and they make haste towards the castle. Unfortunately, this turns out to be a trap as Latima captures them when they reach the vessel. Broadcasting their predicament to the Demon Lord, he uses the two of them as leverage to try and convince Ard to join his side, showing that he will stop at nothing to achieve his goal of saving Lydia from her fate. In the Demon Lord's castle, Latima explains that she will do anything she can to save Lydia as well, so she needs Ginny and Irene to serve as tools to manipulate Ard into doing the Demon Lord's bidding. But Ginny and Irene manage to break out of their restraints, forcing Latima to summon her demonic allies. At that point, Lydia makes her appearance, bursting into the castle. She takes all of the demons on by herself, making quick work of them, and in the process knocks Latima out while scolding her for her stupid decision. Once again, Lydia states that her desire is to pay with her life for the sins she committed when the time comes, so she does not want to be saved by anyone. With her overwhelming strength, she shatters the Demon Lord's vessel, rendering him vulnerable. Not wanting to give up, the Demon Lord releases his full power, and Ard follows suit. They cross swords with all of their might, during which they remember the final argument they had with Lydia in their past, which resulted in her striking out on her own and getting cursed. The sheer anger coming from the Demon Lord's self-hatred makes him overpower Ard. Screaming that he will save her and then die by her hand because she deserves happiness, the Demon Lord attempts to deliver the final blow to Ard. At that moment, Lydia's soul that is bound to their swords comes out. She stops the Demon Lord's attack, allowing Ard to strike back. This brings the Demon Lord down onto his knees, and Ard prepares to deliver the finishing blow. The Demon Lord pleads with him, telling him how much he loves Lydia and wants her to live, but Ard does not hesitate. As soon as Ard's final blow kills the Demon Lord, he, Ginny, and Irene begin glowing as they are being recalled back into the present. Seeing that they are about to disappear, Lydia gives Irene and Ginny a farewell hug, leaving a message for Ard with them. The little boy who claims to be God appears before Ard one last time, praising him for completing the mission. The next moment, Ard, Irene, and Ginny wake up inside of the carriage they were riding in on their school trip. Seeing that they arrived at their destination, they feel relieved that everything appears in order. Irene goes up to Ard and delivers Lydia's final message to him, in which she said that no matter what happens between the two of them, they will always and forever be best friends. Hey, thank you for staying all the way till the end. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It takes only a second, but it means everything to us. Have a great day and see you in the next video.